I saw the top comment on the video yesterday, and you know what it said? It said Andy was angry yesterday. We need this guy to be calm and relaxed. I mean, we don't care about his mental health, but we need him to be in the right frame of mind so that he can deliver us good picks. So send this guy to a retreat, get him to California, get him rubbing some crystals together, get him to a meditation resort so that he can breathe in and relax. Breathe in like when I went to that meditation class that they forced us to in college, and the guy said, breathe in, and I want you to picture the ocean. Picture the ocean, and then picture your hand dropping a fistful of sand in there. And now picture the sand dissipating into the ocean. That's your frustrations. Do you see the sand dissipating? There go your frustrations into the ocean. Now open your eyes. How do you feel? I'm absolutely livid that a girl named Bethany, yes, I went out with a girl named Bethany, ghosted me. And I completely read the situation wrong, and turns out she wasn't into me, even though I thought that she was. That's how I felt after the quick drop the sand into the water thing. But tomato, to each his own. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, but what's good for all of us have been those Caesars same game parlays. Last night, how about that? Panarin with the Rangers winning. You breathed out the sand, and you breathed a win into that one. We took a minus 200, added some sand, and that brought us to plus 104. That hit. We had the Edmonton-Toronto game, tough one to predict, so we took Edmonton plus 1.5. Oh my God, minus 230. We'll give it some sand. Give it an Austin Matthews point. And oh my God, we're at plus 134, and we hit, sand everywhere, up in the same game parlays. And that's why having a point rather than a goal is so fantastic. Austin Matthews got a rickety secondary assist that had nothing to do with the actual goal, and that cashed that bet for us. And that's why I love it so much on Caesar Sportsbook. It's why I fought for the promotion, and it's the promotion where your first bet, if you're a new user on Caesar Sportsbook, is risk-free up to $1,250. Whatever it is, $100, $500, $1,000. If you lose, you're going to have that same bet waiting for you in your account to use as a free bet credit. You just got to be a new user on the platform, over 21, located in an area and state where sports betting is permitted. And if you got a problem and you drop the sand and the sand dissipates and you still have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Somebody will be there to help you out with all your sand issues. So, looking at this slate, how about we start once again? Caesar's same game parlay. Well, for the first time, we're not going to include any of the sides. We're going to take two player props and put them together. 2 points, one on each team, and one happens to be named Point because he keeps racking up points. And the other is going to be Sidney Crosby, who we used 2 nights ago to cash one of these. We're going to put those two together. That's plus money right there. And then we're going to do a separate one where we're going to add Pittsburgh plus 1.5. So Pittsburgh plus 1.5, Braden points, Sidney Crosby, and that's big plus money. That's a healthy sniff. That's a healthy same game Caesars sniff for that Lightning Penguins game. And why do I like the Penguins plus 1.5? For a couple of different reasons. Number one, they're riding the ship. They had that overtime win against the Blues, then they shellacked. Is it shellacked or shellacked? They shellacked the Lightning, and then they had that come from behind victory in the third against Nashville. Then they made a couple trades to bolster their lineup. They got that good juju coming into this one. On the other side, you had that game against Detroit from the Lightning where Vasilevsky had to absolutely steal it. Then they got shellacked by the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then they were completely underwhelming against an undermanned Florida Panthers team. They seem to be suffering from what they did at this time last year. That final quarter of the season, the Lightning really struggled to get up for. You saw it last year, and now you're seeing it again this year. Now, the Lightning ended like the last 8 or 9 games fantastic last year, but we're not there yet, and they appear to be struggling. So if I have to take a side in this one, it's going to be Pittsburgh at plus 1.5. And if you combine it with either one of those player props, that will bring you to plus money. If you don't want to do Point and Crosby, you just want to do the classic from the other night, plus 1.5 with Crosby, that should get you to plus money. If you also want to do plus 1.5 for the Penguins, and then combine that with both teams to go over 1.5. When you look at how they've been playing, kind of like that one. So plus 1.5 for the Penguins, both teams over 1.5 goals. And now let's go on to the next game. Or should we just do another Caesars same game? Or how about let me illustrate how to just chop down another few huge lines. You got the Kings at home against a bottom dweller in the Canadiens. The Canadiens have been kind of radish, but if you want to take that one right there, you can take Anze Kopitar, who scored 4 goals in the last game and single-handedly destroyed the Jets bet. You add him to the Kings, who are over minus 200. That's bringing you to plus money. Anze Kopitar with a point, plus a Kings win. But the best one, or close to the best one, would probably be the Dallas Stars. I just haven't seen the line yet because sometimes it's not available. And if you can somehow get the Stars, they're like minus 8,000 against the Black. I told you the Blackhawks is going to be a free fall the rest of the way. And you saw back-to-back losses against Anaheim and Arizona, with Arizona's being even worse than the Anaheim one. And now they're getting Dallas, who's probably pissed that they screwed them out of that win when Chicago had their mini hot streak before getting rid of Kane, their last dance, so to speak. If you could somehow take Dallas to win with, and I don't even care if the backup's playing. I don't even care if Ottinger's playing in this one. If you could somehow get Dallas with like Rupe Hintz to register a point, if that knocks it to plus, that's something you got to take. You may have to go further down the list and take like a Jamie Benn or a Tyler Seguin, but if you could somehow get Hintz, maybe Heiskanen, put one of those two with Dallas to get them at plus money, that would just be crazy. Now, the Panarin one cash, I actually like Panarin to register a point again for the same reasons, plus adding Kane. If he's going to be playing with Kane, who he has that fantastic chemistry with, I know it's been a long time, but most likely it will still be there. Plus, he's the quarterback of the power play. They still have him listed at under 1.5. So if we combine that with the Ottawa Senators at plus 1.5, because the Senators, we got to give them some credit. They threw 2 beatings in a row. Their only loss in like 7 or 8 games has been to the Carolina Hurricanes in Carolina, which is always a tough place to play. If you're an offensive team and you're going to play a defensively structured and responsible team, that's always going to be a tough ask. But every other game they've really shown well in. And now they're going against the Rangers, have nothing like the defense that they dealt with in Carolina that time. And there's going to be no Lindgren. And you're probably going to have Halak playing. So that's the reason I would like to take Ottawa at plus 1.5 with Artemi Panarin. That's definitely going to get you at plus money. And then also, if you want to do the plus 1.5 and then both teams over 1.5 goals, because if you're going to get Halak and then Ottawa doesn't play great defense and you're adding Kane to Tarasenko and the rest of that lineup, I think both teams over 1.5, Ottawa plus 1.5 can be a good one for that particular game. Those aren't even some of my favorite bets. Did my voice just crack? Oh my God. So probably one of my favorite bets of the night would be the Toronto Maple Leafs. I really like them in bounce back spots, especially since the acquisition of Ryan O'Reilly. You saw last week when we took them against Buffalo. What happened? They got embarrassed in that Patrick Kane last stand, just like when they beat Dallas down there in Dallas. Before that, they beat Toronto at home, and Kane had a hat trick. And you saw them bounce back. We took them against the Sabres when everybody was on the Sabres. We predicted the Sabres were going to be frauds. They were frauds that night. They were frauds 2 nights ago against the Columbus Blue Jackets, but that's a story for another time. I like Toronto to bounce back against Calgary, who the sportsbook are just going to love till the end of time. The sportsbook will continue to give Calgary credit. Doesn't matter how far out of the wild card standings they fall. As long as Calgary's playing out there, the sports books are going to love them. You got a good price on Boston the other night, although Calgary did play better. We got a great price on Colorado against them. They beat them easily. They don't have enough. They struggle to score goals, and I'm going to take Toronto to bounce back and beat the Calgary Flames. So I do like that one there for Toronto. And then also in the Detroit game, you got 2 teams. Detroit's back to struggling to score. They really need this game. After those 2 games, they were firmly in that playoff position where it's like they were almost favored to get there. They were right there. And then after back-to-back beatings, they are definitely on the outside. They're behind Ottawa now. Nobody needs a performance like they do in this game. They just extended Dylan Larkin for 8 years. You got to think on home ice, this is going to be a good effort. but I don't even have faith in them to win. So I almost need them at plus 1.5 too. I do like the under 6.5 though, because they're going to play hard. They struggle scoring, and they're going against a team that has struggled scoring for the most part since the All-Star break. So that's a nice combination there. That's a witch's brew that I like to concoct an under. But if you want to do plus 1.5 for Detroit, add an under 7.5. It will keep you a little bit in the minus, but that's what I like for that particular game. And lastly, you're going to have to get the final pick on my Instagram right before games kick off, right around 6:30. That's where it will be. That's the same place it's always been. It's at Andy Francis on Instagram, the same way you see it spelled on the bottom left portion of your screen. And here's a hint. Here's a hint. You're not going to believe me. It's not going to be the Wild. I did not like what I saw from the Wild last game. Now they're going into Vancouver, a ruckus environment. That's not for me. So I'll have one more for you on the Instagram. I will see you there. If not, I will see you tomorrow. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you're subscribed to the OddsShopper channel here, and I will see you then. Take it easy.